Before you even open your mouth, she's already decided if she wants you or not. Most men never realize what gives it away. You ever walk into a room, and no matter how hard you try to look confident, it feels like no one even notices you. You see her, the girl you want, and suddenly your chest tightens. You start overthinking what to say, how to stand, how to act, and before you even move, it's like your energy disappears. If this is you, you're not alone. Because most men believe attraction starts with the right words, the right joke, the perfect approach. But deep down, you've probably felt it. That moment when another guy walks by, says nothing, and somehow she's already drawn to him. Maybe this feels familiar. So, you've tried to be interesting, tried to be nice, tried to say all the right things, but it's like she senses something missing, and you can't explain it. You go home wondering, what does he have that I don't? Why does she look at him the way I wish she'd look at me? The truth is, attraction doesn't start when you talk. It starts before you talk. It's in the silence, in the way you carry yourself when no one's watching, in the energy that enters the room before you even do. If you've ever felt invisible, like you're doing everything right but still being overlooked, this message is going to hit different. Because once you understand what makes a woman feel something without a single word, you'll realize it was never about what you said. It was always about what you were. So here's the question. What if you could attract any woman without saying anything at all? Most men think attraction is something you do. They think it's about the right words, the right timing, or the perfect move that finally makes her see them differently. But that's where they get it wrong. Attraction isn't something you perform, it's something you radiate. When you chase validation, when you try to prove you're enough, your energy shifts from grounded to needy. And women feel that before you ever speak. They don't respond to the words you say, they respond to the energy behind them. And if that energy comes from insecurity, no line or clever moment will ever fix it. A man who can attract without speaking isn't doing less, he's being more. He's anchored, present, comfortable in his silence because he doesn't need attention to know his worth. That's one of the first masculine principles most men miss. Your presence speaks louder than your words. When you truly believe you belong wherever you are, people feel it, and women are drawn to that calm certainty like gravity. The second principle is self-possession. You can't expect her to feel safe in your presence if you're not at peace with yourself. Most men move through the world looking for someone to give them a sense of value, but the men women can't ignore. They already carry that value inside. You don't need to speak to prove who you are. You just need to be who you are, without apology, without noise, without needing to be seen. Because when your silence is grounded in strength, it becomes magnetic, and that's when she feels it, not with her ears, but deep in her gut. That she's in the presence of a man who doesn't chase, he attracts. He stood at the edge of the bar, the hum of conversation fading into a low, distant blur. Glasses clinked, laughter rippled through the room, but in that moment he wasn't really there, just a man trying not to look like he was trying. She was across the room, surrounded by people. Every now and then her eyes wandered, not searching, just scanning. He felt that familiar pull in his chest, the one that always came right before he'd talk himself out of doing anything. What would I even say? What if she doesn't care? But this time, he didn't move. He didn't fix his shirt, didn't force a smile, didn't pretend to be relaxed. He just stayed still, breathing slow, shoulders back. There was something different about the silence inside him. It wasn't empty, it was solid. The noise of the room carried on, but his mind went quiet. And that's when it happened. Her eyes met his. Not a glance, not a passing look. A pause. A question hung between them, something unspoken, something ancient. He didn't rush to fill it, he just let her look. In that moment she felt what most women never feel in a man anymore. Peace without hesitation, strength without arrogance, presence without noise. Her smile came first, soft and almost confused, like she was recognizing something she couldn't name. And for the first time, he realized he didn't have to chase anything. Because when a man stops trying to be seen and simply is, that's when the world starts to notice. And in that quiet, without a word spoken, she took a step closer. Most men grow up believing that women fall for words, that if you can make her laugh, say the right things, or play the perfect role, she'll choose you. But here's the truth. Attraction doesn't come from performance. It comes from presence. You don't earn her attention by speaking. You hold it by existing in your truth. The first false belief is that attraction starts when you approach her. It doesn't. It starts long before that, in how you walk, breathe, and occupy space. A man who needs to be noticed never will be. A man who already knows he's enough, even in silence, draws attention without effort. You don't attract women by talking louder. You attract them by standing quieter. The second false belief is that you need to prove your worth. The moment you try to show her why you're valuable, you've already lost your center. Women don't respond to explanations. They respond to energy. The man who's comfortable in stillness communicates everything through what he doesn't need to say. She didn't ignore you. She just didn't feel you. And the third belief, the most damaging one, is that silence means weakness. But silence isn't emptiness. It's power under control. It's what separates boys who seek validation from men who radiate certainty. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. You've been conditioned to think attraction is about technique, but it's really about alignment. When your body, your breath, and your purpose are in sync, your presence speaks louder than words ever could. That's when she feels something she can't explain. Not because you performed, but because, for the first time, you didn't need to. The 1% head man doesn't chase, he doesn't convince, he doesn't perform. He understands that real attraction begins long before the first word is spoken. It starts with who he is when no one's watching. This is what he understands. Presence isn't built in the moment you meet her. It's built in the moments you spend alone, when you're sharpening your mind, holding your frame, and staying connected to your purpose. He knows that the energy he carries into a room isn't random. It's the sum of every small decision he's made when no one was there to applaud him. While most men move through the world looking for approval, the headman moves through it as if he already belongs. He's not trying to take up space. He is space. That's how he leads, with presence, not pressure. His calm doesn't come from pretending not to care. It comes from knowing that nothing outside of him defines who he is. When a woman looks at him, she doesn't just see a face, she feels a frequency. It's not about looks, money, or charm. It's about grounded certainty. His eyes don't search. They see. His body doesn't fidget. It rests. And his silence doesn't beg to be filled. It commands attention because it's rooted in peace. This is what separates him from the rest. He doesn't live for reactions. He lives from alignment. Every movement, every pause, every breath communicates. I'm not here to prove anything. He understands that when a man owns his stillness, the world adjusts to his rhythm. Most men try to attract by reaching outward. The head man attracts by standing inward. He's magnetic because his energy says, I'm already full. He doesn't rush the connection. He allows it. He doesn't force attraction. He embodies it. This is how he walks through life, not chasing moments, but creating them, not needing to be seen, but impossible to ignore. Because the 1% headman knows something most men never will. When your presence speaks truth, your silence becomes the loudest thing in the room. He stood in front of the mirror, shoulders slightly slouched, eyes searching for something he couldn't name. He'd spent years trying to decode attraction, the words, the timing, the gestures, yet all it ever brought him was exhaustion. He was tired of pretending to be confident, tired of feeling invisible, tired of chasing what never stayed. Then something shifted. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way his reflection stared back, not as an enemy, but as a man who'd been waiting to be seen. He noticed how his breath had become shallow, how his eyes carried more doubt than strength, and for the first time, he didn't look away. He realized he'd been trying to earn what he was already born with: presence. The quiet power that doesn't need to prove itself. The calm that comes when you stop performing and start remembering. He straightened his posture, not for the mirror, but for himself. The air felt different, heavier, grounded. His heartbeat slowed, not from confidence, but from peace. He thought about her, the one he always wanted to impress, and for the first time, he didn't feel the need to chase her image in his mind. Because he finally understood, attraction isn't something you build through effort, it's something you uncover when you stop abandoning yourself. A faint smile formed, not pride, not arrogance, just quiet recognition. He didn't need to speak. He didn't need to be noticed. He just needed to be. And in that moment, something awakened within him. The realization that he'd never been unseen. He'd just been hiding from the man he was meant to be all along. You spent years trying to say the right thing when all along it was never about the words. The men who speak less aren't lucky. They're aligned. They don't chase attention because they are attention. The silence that once made you doubt yourself. That's your power. That's what she feels before you ever look her way. You don't need to convince her. You don't need to perform. You just need to remember who you are when you stop trying to be someone else. Because the truth is, when a man owns his silence, the world leans in to listen.